They said I was dead, and they had the paperwork to prove it. I was standing in my office, alive, but on paper, I didn't exist. I'm Jessica Miller, and the story I'm about to tell you didn't start with blood, money, or revenge. It started on a normal Tuesday morning, coffee in one hand, keys in the other, planning lunch like any ordinary person, until a single phone call flipped my entire life upside down. My HR manager looked at me with this frozen, terrified expression and said, "Jessica, we just received your death certificate." That was the moment I realized someone buried me on purpose, not in the ground, but in the system. For one reason: money. And trust me, if they wanted me dead on paper, they should have made sure I wasn't alive enough to bury them back. That's when the champagne glasses exploded. Not from the storm, from the pressure wave of 3 MH, 60M Blackhawks dropping out of the clouds at 140 knots, rotors beating the air into submission. The Leviathan had the best radar-absorbent coating money could buy, but it didn't matter. They'd been painting the yacht with targeting lasers for the last 90 seconds. Through the panoramic windows, Arya could see door gunners silhouetted against lightning, M134 miniguns, tracking with mechanical precision. Victor's face had gone the color of curdled milk. "What the?" Arya brought her wrist to her mouth. The gesture looked like she was steadying herself against the pitch of the yacht. It wasn't. "Package is on the chessboard," she said clearly, voice cutting through the chaos. "Execute Shadow Empire." The words hung in the air for maybe half a heartbeat. Then Victor's world ended. The Salle des Étoiles in Monte Carlo had been built to make people feel small. Gilded ceilings soaring 60 feet overhead, champagne fountains flanked by ice sculptures of Greek gods, a string quartet playing Vivaldi while tech billionaires bid on vintage Ferraris for charity. Victor Castellano stood on stage in a custom Brioni tuxedo that cost more than a cardiac surgeon's annual salary, announcing a $20 million donation to an NGO that would absolutely, definitely not use the money to launder his weapons proceeds. The crowd applauded. Someone started a standing ovation. That's when he saw her. Arya, in the same black dress she'd worn to 3 different events this year, nursing a glass of house Prosecco near the service entrance. She looked like exactly what she'd told the family she was, a freelance translator who picked up contract work for pharmaceutical conferences and UN subcommittees. The kind of person who still flew economy and Airbnb'd in sketchy neighborhoods. Victor's smile widened. This was too good. "Ladies and gentlemen!" He gestured toward her, and 2,000 pairs of eyes swiveled. "My niece Arya is here tonight. Stand up, sweetheart." She didn't move. The spotlight found her anyway. Arya still believes, bless her heart, that hard work and integrity are worth more than smart investing. He shook his head, playing to the crowd. "She translates pharmaceutical labels. You know what I tell her? Honey, I'll give you a job translating my wine cellar inventory. 6 figures. Full benefits." The room erupted in laughter. Arya stood perfectly still, fingers wrapped around her clutch purse so tight the leather creaked. Inside that purse, a quantum decryption key the size of a fingernail, capable of accessing targeting data for every NATO submarine in the Atlantic. Also inside that purse, a Sig Sauer P365 with 1 round chambered and 11 in the magazine. She'd never need it, but knowing it was there made the smile easier. "Everyone, please," Victor continued. "Let's take up a collection. Maybe we can get her a real job." The applause was deafening. Arya waited until it died down. Then she raised her Prosecco glass, the €15 bottle, and toasted her uncle with a smile that could have cut glass. 3 hours later, she stood in her hotel bathroom, removing makeup with methodical precision. The mirror showed what the crowd hadn't: a 2-inch scar along her left jawline, faint but unmistakable to anyone who knew what to look for. Helmand Province, 2019. A Taliban RPG had missed her head by 8 inches. The shrapnel hadn't. Her phone buzzed. Not a normal notification, a low-frequency pulse that made her molars ache. She pulled it out. The screen showed a weather app. To anyone glancing over her shoulder, it would display a 5-day forecast for Monaco. She tapped the barometric pressure reading 3 times in succession. The screen went black, then displayed a single line of text. Arya read it twice, then the message deleted itself. She looked back at her reflection. Behind the scar, behind the exhaustion, behind the smile she'd perfected over years of being invisible, the woman who'd written kill orders for 3 heads of state, the woman who'd sat in the situation room during the Kabul evacuation and made the call that saved 400 lives and sacrificed 23. The woman whose broke translator cover had taken 4 years to build and 30 seconds for Victor to weaponize into public humiliation. Her phone buzzed again. This time, a normal text. Victor. Family yacht trip this weekend. Just us. Private island. Let me show you what real success looks like. Maybe you'll finally stop being so stubborn about that job offer. XO. Arya stared at the message for exactly 3 seconds. Then she typed, I'd love to, Uncle. What should I bring? The moment she hit send, she opened a separate encrypted app and composed a message to Langley. Bait taken. Ghost voyage confirmed. Recommend Vanguard protocol. The reply came in 14 seconds. Approved. Autonomous execute authority granted. Bring him home in chains or in pieces. Your discretion. She looked back at the mirror. This time she didn't hide the scar. The Leviathan left Monaco's harbor at sunset with no fanfare and no flight plan. Victor had disabled the automatic identification system, the maritime equivalent of turning off your phone's location services. Officially, the yacht didn't exist. Unofficially, 17 intelligence agencies were tracking it via satellite. Arya stood on the aft deck as the coastline disappeared, wind pulling strands of hair from her bun. She looked every inch the nervous family member out of her depth, clutching the railing, eyes wide, smartphone out to take touristy photos of the sunset. What the tourists couldn't see, each photo was actually calibrating laser rangefinders embedded in the phone's camera array, feeding targeting coordinates to a strike package 40,000 feet overhead. Victor appeared beside her with 2 glasses of champagne. Relax, kiddo. You look like you're about to jump overboard. She accepted the glass. It's beautiful. I've never been on anything like this. That's what I've been trying to tell you. He gestured at the yacht, the helicopter pad, the submarine bay, the radar dome disguised as modern art. This is what winning looks like, not punch clock translations for pharmaceutical companies. You've definitely won, she agreed quietly. Below deck, in a salon insulated by 3 feet of ballistic-rated composites, General Zhao was presenting schematics for DF-27 hypersonic glide vehicles. Prince Khalid wanted 50 units, Volkov wanted the production blueprints, and Victor, beloved Uncle Victor, who still sent her birthday cards with $50 bills inside, was selling them the launch integration codes for Nephilim 9. He didn't have them, of course, but he'd promised he did. And the only person in the world who actually possessed those codes was standing next to him, sipping champagne, watching the sun melt into the Mediterranean like blood in water. The storm hit at 2300 hours. Not a normal Mediterranean squall, this was orchestrated chaos. Cloud seeding and atmospheric ionization from an EC-130H compass call orbiting at 25,000 feet, creating electromagnetic disruption that would mask everything about to happen. Below deck, the deal was closing. Arya had excused herself 20 minutes ago, claiming seasickness. In reality, she was in the server room, uploading a microscopic beacon that would transmit every byte of data on the Leviathan's network directly to Fort Meade. She walked back to the dining salon like she was headed to her own funeral. Calm, measured, every step choreographed. Victor was pouring another round, face flushed with victory and alcohol. There she is, feeling better? Much. She smiled and poured him a glass, deliberately overfilling it so liquid spilled across the white tablecloth. An old hostess trick. Give them something to focus on besides you. Ever wonder why I really learned 12 languages, Uncle? He barely looked up, dabbing at the spill. What's that, sweetheart? She leaned in close. Only he could hear. So I could listen when men like you sold the world in languages you thought no one understood. His eyes snapped to hers. That's when the lights died. Emergency lighting painted everything the color of arterial spray. The Leviathan's external speakers, designed to broadcast yacht parties across the water, suddenly roared to life with Arya's voice. Not the meek translator voice. The command voice, the one she used in the Situation Room, speaking in flawless Russian. Payment received for DF-27 units. Delivery coordinates confirmed. Switching to Mandarin. Nephilim 9 integration codes. Transaction value 2.8 billion. Then Arabic. Destabilization of NATO Southern Command. Timeline 18 months. Every word Victor had said in the last 3 hours, in every language, broadcast across all frequencies. General Zhao went for his gun. He was still reaching when the panoramic windows detonated inward, not from bullets, from pressure. 3MH-60M, Blackhawks hovering in perfect formation, rotor wash at 180 knots, turning 20-foot swells into horizontal sheets of water that hit the salon like artillery. Flashbangs followed, 6 of them, perfectly timed, turning night into burning white noon. Then the SEALs came, fast roping through shattered windows, through the ceiling, through doors that hadn't been locked from the inside, but were locked now. 12 operators in full battle rattle, nods down, HK-416S tracking with mechanical precision. The lead SEAL, call sign Vanguard 1, pulled off his balaclava as his team zip-tied General Zhao to a Rothko painting worth $8 million. He looked at Arya, standing perfectly still in the center of the chaos, black dress soaked with seawater and champagne, hair finally loose and wild. He snapped to attention. "Ma'am, Vanguard 1, awaiting orders." Victor was on his knees in broken glass, bleeding from a dozen cuts, staring at his niece like he'd never seen her before. "Arya?" She knelt so only he could hear, voice steady as surgical steel. "You taught me blood is thicker than water, Uncle. Tonight I learned duty is thicker than both." The screens flickered to life. Live feeds from Gstaad, Dubai, Manhattan. Simultaneous raids on every property Victor owned. His empire dismantled in 43 seconds by agencies he didn't know existed. The storm passed as quickly as it came. Dawn broke cold and clear. Victor sat on the deck in flex cuffs, watching his world burn on a tablet screen an FBI agent was kind enough to hold for him. "Your family," he said quietly, just to her. "One call, a character reference. I'll disappear. Switzerland, Belize, anywhere. You'll never hear from me again." Arya stood with her back to the sunrise, silhouette sharp as a knife. Every child orphaned by your weapons is family too, she thought. Forgive you, and I damn millions. Destroy you, and I lose the last person who remembers my mother's laugh. A SEAL stood nearby, holding Victor's phone. One tap. Bury the evidence. Claim foreign intercept only. No American involvement. She could give him that. She looked at the phone for a long time. Then she crushed it under her heel, ground it into splinters and circuit board dust. "Tell The Hague," she said to the SEAL, "that he prefers 1945 vintages. They can keep him company for life." Victor's face crumpled. She walked away without looking back. The USS Connecticut, a Virginia-class fast-attack submarine, surfaced like a black cathedral breaching from the underworld. Arya walked the plank across open water, dress torn, feet bare, more alive than she'd been in years. On the sail, 6 operators in unmarked gear snapped salutes. She returned them. The last thing Victor saw before they took him below, his broke translator niece, descending into a submarine with 12 officers who'd been willing to start a war on her word alone. The Connecticut's deck officer, a woman with captain's bars and a Medal of Honor ribbon, met Arya at the hatch. "Director, welcome aboard. We're running dark to Groton, ETA 16 hours. Your quarters are prepared." Arya nodded. "Thank you, Captain." As the sub dove, she stood in the control room, watching depth gauges and ballast indicators, listening to the controlled chaos of submariners who'd perfected silence as an art form. Her voice, barely a whisper, carried through the compartment. "Real power doesn't buy yachts. It stops the people who do." They laughed when she was just the translator. She was rewriting their endings in languages they'll never speak. If you ever outsmarted a bully with silent, unstoppable strength, tell me your story below. The shadows are listening. Comment Shadow Empire if you felt that power shift. Subscribe for revenge served cold and deep.